The G-Shock Rangeman GPR H1000 versus the G-Shock Mudman GW 9500. Which one is tougher? Which one is more durable? Which one can take a beating better? Which one will destroy the other? The answer is the Mudman. The Mudman is tougher than the Rangeman. That is the result of my test. Okay, I've had the Mudman GW 9500 since August. I unboxed it August 5th. January 25th, I unboxed this Rangeman, the new Rangeman, and as you can see, it is March 21st. And I've already had problems with this Rangeman. I'm going to send it back for repair. Look at the strap. Look at it, how much it wiggles, right? A lot of play there. A lot of play. And some people accuse me of abusing these watches. I don't know what they're talking about. The Mudman is all these tests I've done to both of these watches, okay? So obviously I've been wearing the Rangeman for 2 months and this Mudman for several, right? August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So 7 months, right? And it seems like all the testing on the Mudman has just broken it in. Okay, I feel like diesel has just cleans the Mudman. It breaks it in. It makes it better. Okay, and the Rangeman, all right, we have some durability issues. Okay, and I'm sorry to say that because I do like the Rangeman because, you know, it has all of these like fitness features and the heart rate tracking and everything of the GBDH 2000, but it has these mud-resistant buttons. And so the whole idea of the Rangeman is that you wear it to work, you wear it to work out. Okay, if you're a blue-collar guy and your job is like a workout, you can get credit for it on your fitness apps when the Rangeman records it. And I think that's useful because, you know, you can go to the step track. Let me just scroll through these widgets to find the step track. Where'd it go? There it is, the footprints. All right. You know, if you walk a lot at work, you can fold that into how this watch will judge your fitness. Now, obviously, the Mudman doesn't have any of those features, but this is actually very durable. So, both of these watches got the same types of tests. They were subjected to diesel fuel, used motor oil, liquid nitrogen, cats, feral cats, the shop. What else? Hydraulic oil, breakfast burritos, all sorts of like hazards, environmental hazards that are likely to be dripping down your hand when you're doing maintenance on diesel equipment. You know, as well as just being beaten up at work and working out at the gym and just all the activities that me and the boys do, hiking and camping, etc., roughhousing, and and the Rangeman did not hold up as well as the Mudman. Okay, now for me, the Mudman GW 9500 is an optimization of durability, size, and cost. The Mudman retails at $380, okay? And it is more diminutive than a lot of other G-Shock watches. See how thick it is? It is thinner than this Rangeman, the new Rangeman, which is 3/4 of an inch thick. About. And so, when you're trying to work on equipment, you want to reach your hand in. This is much more compact. It hugs the wrist a lot better. And this stands proud. And as a result, it can knock into things. And I don't think that the Rangeman is that bad for its size in terms of wearability, especially when you compare it to some other hockey puck style G-Shock watches, such as the GXW 56BB. I have it somewhere in the G-Shock bag. I can show you some other comparisons for those of you who are interested. Let me just reach into here and find aforementioned watch. Oh, here's the GBDH 2000, by the way. This one's 3/4 of an inch thick. So you can see it's about the same size as the Rangeman. Maybe the Rangeman's a little bit bigger. Should probably get my wrench set out, because that's how I test the thickness. I can't find that other hockey puck watch. Let's just move on. So the Mudman, like I said, is an optimization, and this is my favorite watch. Okay, now the first impressions when I unboxed either of these watches, my first impressions was that this Mudman, you know, I don't really like the fit. The GBDH 2000 is way more comfortable. It just seems kind of stifling. These wings barely move. These are hard plastic wings, okay? But after wearing the Mudman for some time, either it broke in or I broke into it, okay? And I'm sure that, you know, maybe the diesel helped soften it up some. The diesel did add some patina to the plastic. So this got a lot of oil and diesel on it, and then it was exposed to the brutal West Texas sunlight. And so in some spots, this plastic bezel is already showing some wear, some discoloration, okay? But it's still very durable. I have total confidence in this watch and the band. And as you know, what I always say is if there are pins, they'll pop. Okay, the weak point of any blue collar watch, any beater watch, is the pins. Pins are always popping out, and you lose your watch. You may not even notice. And that happened to me a lot with a Casio calculator watch. I thought it'd be a great idea to wear a calculator watch in order to make quick calculations at work, like, you know, how many barrels have I pumped? Well, you just, you know, get out the watch and make a quick calculation. And of course the pins broke, and I lost several of them. And that's before I decided to finally buy a G-Shock. So these pins appear to be the same type as on the Mudman, okay? But where the Mudman has this hard plastic wing, the Rangeman has these soft plastic wings, okay? In fact, all of these bezel components are this soft plastic material. And I don't know if it's bioresin. I think bioresin is stupid. The whole premise of bioresin is that, you know, oil's so bad. Plastic comes from oil and gas. It's derived from natural gas, I believe. So to accept the premise that, you know, natural gas is so bad and we're going to use plants, you know, how is that better? Like, I don't understand. And it could be lower quality. And that's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to dunk it in diesel. Diesel being a solvent is to see how good this plastic bioresin is. So the plastic is meant to be soft on the Rangeman in order to protect equipment when it's, you know, bumped into stuff, right? Let's bump it into stuff here. Or you know, like people who are being rescued. Because I guess that's what the Rangeman is named after. The rangers who rescue people at sea or in the mountains in Japan. And I don't know exactly what rangers these are Casio is talking about. I made a video about this. Because every time I Google searched for Japan Rescue Rangers, I got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers pictures. Which, anyways, so this soft plastic, it felt nice right out of the box. I thought, wow, this is supple, and you know, it bends, which is fine. Stuff can bend before it breaks, but you know, what looks to me like it's happening is that this band is, when it gets pushed up against this kneecap on the soft plastic bezel, this bends back, the band bends down. I think that's what caused these screws to come loose. I don't know. I'm going to send this back to Casio for them to look at it under warranty. All right? But the Mudman was, like, I've had it longer. It's gone through the exact same level of abuse, maybe even more, and it's holding up. It's holding up very well. So you're sacrificing some comfort to gain durability. And like I said, this is the optimization, in my opinion, of durability, size, and cost. Those three factors come together in the Mudman. And by the way, the Rangeman retails at $500, so you're paying more. Okay. Now, while we're on the subject of comfort, I did not find the Rangeman to be uncomfortable at all. But while wearing it, I have to adjust it a lot. Okay. It doesn't stay planted on my wrist as well as the Mudman. The Mudman hugs your wrist a lot better. And the Rangeman kind of moves around a lot. I'll make a whole nother video where I'll compare the comfort level of the Mudman and the Rangeman. I'll even throw the GBDH 2000 in there so that you guys can get a good idea of the comfort, because to this point the GBDH 2000 is the most comfortable watch I've ever worn. All right, but I'll talk about that more in the next video. So there's I'm going to have to, before I can say whether or not I recommend the Rangeman, I'm going to have to hear back from Casio as to why this came loose. And I made mention of this design flaw with the bezel, but I want to hear back from them. Maybe they'll have a better explanation, and we'll go from there. Now, the Mudman, in terms of recommendation, like I said, if durability is important to you, then the Mudman is the way to go. Okay. Now I haven't compared it. I haven't tested the previous Rangeman, the GW9400, to say whether or not the GW9400 is more durable than this watch, the GW9500. But I can tell you that I have approved this watch for durability, and I recommend it based on cost and durability. Now, this watch is not perfect. There are some issues. The screen, has glare, okay? And it's not just reflections. It's also there's a polarizing light effect that some angles, the numbers are clearer than other angles. And it's not always straight on or at extreme angles. It's pretty subtle. See how crisp it is there? And then you kind of lose it a little bit. It almost disappears at certain angles. And it's really bad at night. If you turn on the light, you press the light button, sometimes the screen's totally blank. And again, it's not extreme angles. It's just some angles you can't read it at all. And I think that has to do with polarization and total internal reflection, all those types of things. So when I recommend the Mudman, I always have to add in that asterisk to be hey, be careful of the legibility. There's some issues with the legibility. You have to break it in out of the box. It may not feel that comfortable. It breaks in, okay? And $380, it's not a cheap watch. So those are the things that I say about the Mudman. And the angle of the light button's kind of weird. You end up pressing on the metal shroud more than you do the button. You have to press in and up into the watch to get that light button going. And the buttons, it seems like these metal shrouds are a little too long. Now I've done a test with gloves. I've worn my gloves to press the buttons, and they press fine with the gloves. Okay, so legibility is how the Rangeman it's amazing. This MIP display is just so dadgum beautiful. And, at all sorts of angles that you can read it. And I made a YouTube short, where I started moving the watch to a very obtuse angle. Or is it acute angle? I guess it's acute. And the bezel comes up and blocks the screen before you lose sight of the numbers. And it's so beautiful. It's just fantastic. So if legibility is your number one priority, the Rangeman GPR H1000 is the way to go because it's like it's beautiful, and there's way more pixels. So the Mudman, it just has an old-fashioned LCD display, which is updated. Okay, it's not like the really old LCD displays that that are small. That this LCD display is pretty big, and so here's an old. Actually, this is just a regular Casio. This one has pretty big numbers. But what happens is that uh, there's not pixels here. There's segments, and the top where it says Thursday 21. That's like a dot matrix, so you can have a graph for the altimeter or the barometer. So it hasn't been getting a lot of good readings. But anyways, this Rangeman has pixels all the way. This entire screen encompasses this whole circle, so it makes pretty good use of it. So let me just show you on the barometer. You know, it has big numbers, and you can look at the graph. Oh, it's beeping. My watch is beep at 12:50. This one's starting to beep too. Which reminds me that this watch has a vibration and audible alarm, and the Mudman just has the audible alarm. So the screen and legibility is unrivaled among G-Shock watches on this Rangeman GPR H1000. Okay, and obviously there are a few other G-Shock watches that have the MIP display, but the feature set is quite extensive on the Rangeman. Now, the secret about the Rangeman is that it has a GPS. The GPS doesn't give you directions. The GPS will tell you how far you've ran when you do a running workout or a walking workout. And see how it says low battery? The GPS takes up a lot of energy, so you will have to plug it in. The Mudman can run completely off the sun. Its solar charging will get the whole watch totally powered, and you can see how it says M at the bottom. It says L, M, or H for low, medium, or high, and that's the battery level. And you can get this to high no problem. This has been in my bag for the past couple months, and it's only at medium, right? And this has been on my wrist for since January 25th, and I've already had to charge it a couple times. So the GPS and this heart rate monitor take a lot of energy. It requires more energy than the sunlight can give it. So the basic watch, just telling time, it seems to me like the sun can power the time. But in my experience so far with this watch, I do not think that the sunlight can self-sustain the screen, the watch, and the altimeter, barometer, and compass. It may take several months for the battery to run out, but you'll have to charge it up. And there's a clamp charger that goes on it. Let's see if this is it. So you have to charge it up, and it's USB. Plug it in. This is a proprietary charger, so you have to hang on to this charger. Okay. Now, if you use the GPS or heart rate monitor, you'll have to charge this watch fairly frequently. Frequently coming from a G-Shock. If you're coming from an Apple Watch, you might enjoy the battery life because the battery will last about a week if you have everything on. That's a rule of thumb, about a week. And then if you are judicious about how often you use a GPS or heart rate monitor, you'll get about a month, and that's a rule of thumb, about a month. And this experience of the battery is since it's the same, pretty much the same module as a GBH 2000. What I'm telling you about the battery has a lot to do with my experience with the GBH 2000. So this is this Rangeman, let me just wrap up the battery. The battery, like I said, on the Mudman, if you hate charging, then the Mudman is the way to go. Okay, the Mudman is solar charging, all right? And I think that you can use like indoors lights too. Will give it some boost. If you're going to use a Rangeman, you're going to have to plug it in to use the features. It's just the way it goes. It may be a long, long time, depending on how you use a Rangeman, but to use the features, all the features the Rangeman offers, you're going to have to plug it in. Much less frequently than a Apple Watch or one of those smart watches. However, as the Garmin bros always point out in the comments, the Garmin Instinct 2X Solar has better battery life than the Rangeman and more features. And I used to think that, well, at least the G-Shock's more durable, but I don't know. It might not be. We shall see. Anyways, so the feature set, I've just scratched the surface on the features. So the Rangeman has the altimeter, barometer, compass. The Mudman has an altimeter, barometer, compass. And where did my pointer pen go? So it has dedicated buttons. Okay, so if you wanted to access the compass, you press this top right button. This compass turns on, and you have this screen, this two-level. See the blue? These rays are for the compass, and somehow it has. There we go. So north is pointing the three rays are pointing north, and the single rays are pointing to the other cardinal directions. Okay, so the compass has a dedicated button, and the reason it's skipping around everywhere is that I'm in a truck. I'm in an 18-wheeler, so it's not going to the Detroit diesel engine being made of metal is disrupting the magnetic field. And the barometer too has its own dedicated button, and the altimeter has its own dedicated button. All right. And you saw that the screen has two levels. It has the lower level LCD screen that shows the basic information and the dark numerals. And over that is another screen that has the purple. All right. And it's cool, for the compass. It's really readable, but it's kind of a challenge on the negative version of the Mudman. And I do not recommend getting the negative LCD of the Mudman. It's the legibility's even worse than the positive LCD Mudman, which I have right here. To get to the altimeter, barometer, compass in the Rangeman, you have to scroll through the widgets. And when you hook this up to the app on your phone, you're gonna be able to reorder, and even you can change the order and delete some of the widgets. But the altimeter, barometer, compass, you have to menu dive to get to each one of those. There's an almanac with the sunrise, sunset, and moon phase. There's an almanac on the Mudman. So this is the main time. You hit mode once, where it says sun. That means the sun information, not Sunday, just sun. So 7:51 is the sunrise. 8:03 p.m. is the sunset. No moon phase information. So for you lunatics or werewolves hunters or werewolves, right? No moon information. The Rangeman does have this moon information. All right. So there's a tide graph. No tide graph on the Mudman. And blood oxygen, breathing exercise, cardio status. It says I'm detraining. I don't know what that means. I've not even hooked this up to the phone app. And by the way, this is a connected watch with Bluetooth. You can control a lot of the parameters in the preferences of the Rangeman. And you can relay notifications from your phone to the Rangeman. However, you cannot respond to those notifications from the watch. What the notifications will do is alert you to whether or not you need to get your phone out in order to respond. All right. And I haven't hooked it up, so I don't have any notifications. But the notifications would appear as a list on the notification widget, and it would beep and vibrate your watch and have a display for the notifications. All right. Mudman, no Bluetooth, no app. You take the Mudman out of the box, you put it on your wrist. There you go. Bing, bang, boom. You have a G-Shock watch that works. Every night, the Multiband 6 will sync up the time on your watch to the atomic clock in Denver or Colorado Springs. It's wherever it is in Colorado. Every night, okay? If you live in the area of one of the 6 atomic clocks. There's one in the United States, there's 2 in Japan, there's 1 in Europe, and I think there's like 2 in China. I can't remember all the details, but all the Australians and I believe Brazilians and the Indians, they don't have that. But here in Texas, we get it just fine, right? And so that's what I love about the Mudman. Like really, the only thing you have to set if you're in the vicinity of a multiband 6, you just have to set what time zone you're in, and the watch will set itself. No phone app, no connection, no Bluetooth, no terms of service, no creating an account with an email address and password. You take the Mudman out of the box, you wear it. Now the Rangeman, has a lot of features that will that you can use from the Casio Watches app. All right, and it can give you a lot of information about sleep tracking. It can give you a lot of information about your workouts. You can look at a map of where you've run, where you've walked, where you've swam, where you've biked, and it also can you can bring that information to the Apple Health and Strava. Strava is another app that you can. So here's the app, and it says that I have not synced up my GBDH 2000, and I need to update the software. Okay, the app has a lot of like advertisements, but you can go through. I haven't, like I said, I have not hooked up the Rangeman yet. This is for the GBDH 2000, but you can see right here it says that I have update the software. There's no updating the software on the Mudman, right? It just works, right? Now the Rangeman, if you update the software, you can add in the hourly chime, and you can change the watch face. You can customize the watch face. You can customize some of the screens on the workouts. That each one of these workouts, has all these screens you can scroll through. Let's start up the GPS. Let me back out of this. There's a lot of different screens for all your workouts, and this gym workout does not need the GPS, and so you can customize one. Now, this doesn't have all of the features that like a Garmin or a Fitbit have in terms of. Maybe it has more or less than a Fitbit. My wife tried the DWH 5600. She said she liked the whole Casio ecosystem for fitness better than her Fitbit. But all the Garmin bros that I've talked to in real life and in the comments, it sounds like there's a lot more on the Garmin than on the Rangeman. But the Rangeman has fitness features. Now the question you might have is, can you use the Rangeman without the Bluetooth? And the answer is yes. I have not, like I said, I have not hooked up the Bluetooth. You can still work out. You can still use the exercise information. You can still store it on the watch. It will give you some information regarding your sleep and in your training status, but it's not very detailed. This activity log is, all the different workouts, and I've done more than this. What's happened is that, like, I've done a workout and then I leave the gym and start driving, and I'm like driving back to the man camp, and this is beeping. I'm like, why is my watch beeping? And it thinks I'm running. It thinks I'm running 65 miles an hour, so it's keeping track of all the miles that I've run. So I had to delete those exercises. But anyways, you can get a sleep status. So it says my sleep status is compromised. This is just basic information. If you want a detailed information, you go to the app, and it'll draw a graph of your sleep, for how long you've slept, how deep your sleep is, etc., etc. The Mudman doesn't care. The Mudman will be, you'll be like, all right, do I feel tired? Then get more sleep. So the other thing about the Rangeman is that the basic watch functions are not advanced. The basic watch functions are actually really bad, okay? I'm sorry to say that. This is a fitness watch, and I wish that there was one screen where you had big numbers for the time and big numbers for your heart rate. I have not seen that. Now, what was it, Brian the 99th? I forget his name. He told me, he spilled the beans on the fact that you can customize a screen to show the time, like the actual time and the heart rate in the workout. And I felt stupid. I didn't realize you could customize the workout screens. So you can get a screen that shows the time and the and your heart rate, but it's not in like big numbers. Like, look at how big these numbers are for the heart rate. Well, that's the graph. But if you go to this screen for the heart rate, it has gigantic numbers for the heart rate. And look, you don't see what time it is right now. This will show you with big numbers your heart rate. Right? It's assessing my heart rate. So look at the top where there's dashes. Yeah, okay, 93 beats per minute. And at the bottom, the time. The time is in tiny letters. And this isn't even a workout screen. This is just the heart rate. And the other weird thing is that the DWH 5600 has a watch face that has the time and the heart rate on it. And this one doesn't. You can customize the watch face to display your heart rate, but it will be in tiny numbers. Unless I have to put an asterisk by that statement, because there may have been an update to the software, as there always could be, where some of these gripes are fixed. This is an example in the GBH 2000 of the updated screen, where you see this is the time of the day. This is the regular home screen, and at the top left is the heart rate. Look how tiny those numbers are. It's still. I think it's trying to get my heart rate. Maybe the heart rate monitor is off. I don't know, but you can see how tiny the numbers are by looking at the other little numbers. They're tiny, so that's frustrating. So if you were like, hey, this doesn't have all of the features that a Garmin has, but at least it has the basic workout information. Yeah, it does, but as I've just said, it's like it doesn't do it well, okay? And so then the other thing is a stopwatch does not have fractions of a second, right? And if you want to back out of the stopwatch, you press the back button. The back button doubles as the split button. You have to hold down the back button to leave. And the timer only goes to one hour, which is outrageous. 60 minutes, that's the max you can set the timer for. And the washing machine at my man camp goes on for 66 minutes. Yeah, it's one of those high efficiency ones that does a poor job washing the clothes and takes forever. 66 minutes. My wife's Speed Queen takes, I don't know, 15 minutes. But anyways, this countdown timer is no better than an analog watch with one of those bezels. because this only goes up to 60 minutes. It's a joke. The Mudman. All right, watch this. So, main time. All right. You're looking at the main time screen. There we go. Main time. Sunrise, sunset. And this is your information for when you're hiking. Look at this stopwatch, okay? This stopwatch, I started this a couple months ago, and it's still going. 271 hours on the stopwatch. 46 minutes and 11 seconds. All right? When this gets to 99 hours, at the 1,000th hour, I can't say that without lisping, the 1,000th hour, it rolls over back to 0. You try saying 1,000th hour. I dare you to. Don't laugh at me trying to say 1,000th hour. I can't. I'm not even trying anymore. But I bet you can't either. 1,000th. I actually did try to say it correctly. I can't. Anyways, so that's the stopwatch. And you don't have to back out of the stopwatch. You just hit mode to advance to the timer. And so I have it set for 4 hours. I think you can set it up to 24 hours. Let's see. You have forward and reverse buttons. So let me bring this up to 24 hours. Yeah, 24 hours. So it's like basic watch stuff. The Mudman GW9400, Moggs the Rangeman GPR H1000. And it's crazy. It's like, how did this leave Casio headquarters? Like, did nobody try these things? Like, this is like a hyper advanced watch. It doesn't, like these old fashioned watches with the LCD screens, they're all run by logic circuits, integrated circuits. On one of those green boards, it's soldered in with all these little microchips. And this watch, would have some type of operating system with memory like RAM and ROM, etc. And yet the programming of the basic watch functions on the GPR H1000 is inferior to the Mudman GW9500. And I think that's outrageous. So I like the Mudman for that reason. All right. And so obviously there's a lot we can compare in terms of the features and the functionality, okay? And I have not gone into all the features of the Rangeman because it can adjust the time by Bluetooth or GPS. And the Mudman has multiband 6. That's it. It's up to you to set it otherwise. This Rangeman can determine your position from its GPS when you do a workout that requires GPS, or it can use a Bluetooth. When it syncs up to your phone, it will update your location and the time that way. All right. One bug that infuriates me about these watches is that it will change your time zone without asking you when the GPS syncs up. And that bothers me because I go into New Mexico sometimes for work, unfortunately, and I like to stay on Texas time. I do not like to do mountain time. In an oil field, most of the stuff still stays on Texas time. Everything east of Artesia, everything east of Carlsbad, I think that they just generally stay on Texas time. At least I do all my paperwork in Texas time. Nobody complains. So this watch will stay on whatever time zone you set it. The Rangeman will make that adjustment, which bothers me. And again, they may have fixed that bug in the software update. So a lot of my complaints about the software potentially could be fixed by a software update. But, it's one of those things, I guess they call it vaporware, when you're hoping that software will deliver some update, and it may or may not. All right? So, we've talked about the durability, which the Mudman has. We talked about the comfort, which initially I thought the Rangeman had, but after wearing it for a while, I am enjoying the comfort of the Mudman better. The Rangeman kind of moves around a lot. We talk about the functions. Obviously, the Rangeman has way more functions. It has all of the fitness functions, all of the functions of the Mudman, plus all the notification, the Bluetooth connectivity. I wouldn't call it a smartwatch, and I definitely wouldn't call this a dumb watch. I would call it, a notification watch or a connected watch. All right. Some people just do not want smartwatches, and this Rangeman would be a way to go if you feel that way. And if it's too big, look at the DWH 5600. And if you're looking for just fitness, then the GBDH 2000 may be the way to go, which, like I said, I like a lot. But we're not. We'll compare these two in another video. So this Rangeman does have mud-resistant buttons, right? So these buttons have like the button doesn't press directly into the body. There's a pin on the end of this button that presses into the module, and there's a gasket system that locks out the module from liquid and debris. And so I ran both of these watches under dirty motor oil, which has a lot of iron, little filings of iron, a lot of metal, a lot of junk, and pressed all the buttons. The buttons still work. And so with all the testing that I've done, both of these watches have handled mud, not like water mud, but oil-based mud, right? And they've done very well. Now, the buttons on the Rangeman have shrouds, metal shrouds on all of them. All of the buttons are similar. There's like this metallic type of button. I'm not sure if it is metal. Yeah, the button's metal. The shroud is metal. All right, they're all the same. They have this bullseye grip. Okay, on the Mudman, these buttons are plastic, and only the right buttons have shrouds. All right. Now on the left side, the button is metal, but the shroud is plastic. And it's kind of it's not like a really comfortable experience to press. It's kind of like might give you a little bit of the heebie-jeebies because you kind of get more of the shroud when you're pressing it than you do the button. So the physical button pressing experience of the Rangeman is better. Okay? Like the buttons stick out a little bit more from their shroud, and when you go to press it, it just feels more comfortable. I'm talking about the sensation that your fingers feel as you press it. Now, there is a problem that I'm going to talk about in an upcoming video, and it has to do with how laggy the whole buttons are. Because the way that the computer reads the buttons has a low refresh rate, and it just seems laggy. Like the button activates as you release the button, not when you press it. However, the light comes on when you press it. So it knows that you've pressed the button, but it's waiting to see like if you're going to long press it or just press it. And so that adds to a perceived delay in how the watch responds to the buttons. All right, let me give you an example. We're going to go through the widget screen, and I'm going to press the forward button a bunch of times. See how much I'm pressing it? And it's like only every other press registers. Now on the Mudman, you can press it really quickly, and when you're setting a parameter, you can hold down hold down the button to advance through the parameter really quickly. That's not possible on the Rangeman. It's one integer per press. Anyways, gentlemen, the Rangeman, we're going to send this back. We're going to see what Casio has to say about this problem. Hopefully they repair it under warranty, and we'll see what explanation they have as to why this happened. All right. There's a lot more to say about both of these watches, so you're going to want to stay tuned. And the Mudman is still my favorite. Mudman GW 9500. Still my favorite. I like this watch. I am still wearing the Rangeman, still testing it out. Like I said, I enjoy the fact that it keeps track of all my fitness data. I'm just a middle-aged guy trying to lose weight. And this watch has helped me do that. I got it. Well, I started the fitness watches. We'll include the GBH 2000 in this testimony. But I weighed 295 when I first got the GBH 2000. I started working out more. I actually got up to 300, and I'm down to 275 now. And I feel like these fitness watches have helped. And I know a lot of G-Shock Giga Chads do not like the whole fitness watch stuff. I understand. The Mudman is there for you. GW 9500. Gentlemen, remember, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through him. I'm Jim Kincaid. Thanks for watching.